over 50 years there had been a long association with having lay partners in ministries, but this was about governance, which until that point had virtually been done by Brigidine sisters.
We as a group of sisters were not increasing, we were ageing, and we decided that we needed to look to the future of what would happen with our schools.
We had to admit that our numbers were decreasing. Sisters were not entering, women were not entering to become sisters. We were able to do so much, but we really needed to look to a new future.
20 years or so prior to setting up Kildare Ministries, religious congregations were looking at different types of governance. I can remember in 2002 there was a public conference on what a public juridic person would be for religious orders making decisions about their ministries for the future.
We decided that we would go for a pontifical public juridic person.
It would be, in civil terms, similar to a company limited by guarantee, has a right to own property, to set up ministries and manage them. It is perpetual. We initiated a meeting between the leadership teams of the two provinces, New South Wales and Victoria, in October 2007, and the journey began.
We then spent several years, many meetings, developing a petition to take to Rome to ask for the establishment of a new public juridic person that we were wanting to name Kildare Ministries.
The serious work of writing the petition began. We had to seek endorsement from each of the bishops in whose diocese our schools were located, and there was no hesitation. We were very fortunate in that every bishop in whose diocese we have worked gave full support to the setting up of Kildare Ministries. In 2009 and 2010, the Presentation Sisters indicated an interest in joining Kildare Ministries.
Part of their application to Rome was that other smaller groups could come in and join the same PJP. And so we said, well, we're definitely interested in doing so. And I felt, in one sense, oh dear, here we are, sort of handing over. That's a big thing, to hand over what you have put in, all those years of effort and our money, our effort, our creativity, our compassion for the children, and to let somebody else maybe would take this into the future. I'm really pleased that we did that, so that right from the beginning of Kildare Ministries, our voice was there, that we were interested to be part of the same. And the beautiful thing was that the Brigidines made us so welcome.
And it was in mid-2010 that the decision was made to choose the name Kildare Ministries.
Kildare Ministries' name came about because we were founded in the diocese of Kildare and Lachlan.
I was asked by the leader at the time, what would you think of Kildare Ministries? I said, we'd love that, because our second foundation didn't come from Limerick, it came from Kildare. And 4 sisters came out from Kildare to Wagga, and 2 of those then came down to start our Star of the Sea school. So we have an immediate link with that word Kildare.
The petition to Rome to request approval of Kildare Ministries was completed by April 2011, and so we met with the panel at the Vatican. We were all a little bit anxious. We didn't know what this process would be, but we met with a panel of 3 people who then asked us questions about what we were hoping to do by setting up Kildare Ministries. And of course our response was, well, we entrust this entity and all the ministries that are in Kildare Ministries to a group of lay men and women for the perpetual life of the schools in which we ministered, that we believed we had such a strong community of schools. And at that stage we knew that the Presentation Sisters would like to join us, so our petition included not only education ministries but community works. Assistance by a letter in our petition from Bernadette Keating, who was the then leader of the Presentation Sisters, we believe also assisted in the approval. In September 2011, we received a response back from the Vatican to say that Kildare Ministries had been approved. That was an exciting moment, but it then meant that new work had to start all over again about the how we were going to set it up. What did the governance structures look like? How would it operate in reality? What did we need to put up in terms of an executive office to make it work?
It was a momentous and heartwarming day because we were gathering as Kildare Ministries. It was highly symbolic. We used Australian flora and fauna as part of the visuals. There had been special carvings done of an Australian bush nut, a gum nut, to present to the trustees. I thought that was a lovely touch because part of the story of the both charisms is about acorns. But here we are in Australia with Kildare Ministries commencing its journey, and we have our own gum nut. The momentous, profound time in the ceremony was when all of the religious sisters, here they were at all ages, and they were handing over their schools to us as trustees. And it was then you realise the privilege and the responsibility of what you were taking on. Kildare Ministries is a PJP, but it's a new voice in the church. Part of our vision, we use the word transformative. So how are we going to be a transformative organisation within the church, which has a history of 2,000 years? So we're constantly looking at being people-oriented first, looking at the contemporary issues in society that affect people, and how do we have a voice in that for the good, for the betterment of society.
When you've got two charisms and you have to combine them, it automatically creates a new sense. And that to me is the exciting part of how do we take this forward. So we had to work really hard in developing something that was new, coming out of the common stories of both traditions.
When we were dreaming about Kildare Ministries and the presentations had chosen to be part of this dream into the future, we brought together a small group to talk about what do we have in common in symbols and what could capture the essence of who we were. And the Brigidine sisters have always had the lamp of learning, which was the centre of Bishop Delaney's coat of arms. And the Presentation sisters had the lantern of Nano Nagel, who walked the streets of Cork. What emerged from those discussions was a sense of we need to look at light as being a central thing, a flame. And we came about with the centrality of the cross and the sense of the gospel and Jesus' message being central to this endeavour, that the flame would be a uniting symbol that had come from the light and the lantern, and that we would have a circle around it to hold the two together, symbolising the world, symbolising inclusion, but not to be a closed circle.
I feel very confident about the future because I can see that the structure of Kildare Ministries is getting stronger and stronger. It's such a little space of time that we've had for a whole staff to grow, for a trustees group to become established, and on the Members' Council we can see and approve and encourage growth that's happening. And I would hope that it would become strong enough that they could do what we did all along the road. Look to where the next need is and say, can we do something about that?
We've got a great group of people who've taken up the mission and developed the mission. We had just the beginnings of ideas of what this was going to be. And it was very scant in the way in which we had developed the outline for Kildare Ministries. The trustees have really worked to have a clear statement of purpose. They're clear about their mission. The values that they've developed and the expression of them is consonant with the work that we've done over the years. I have every confidence that this is going to be the beginning of another 200 or more years.